Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the Home Weather Office. It is Wednesday morning. We're now up to the 26th day of August, 2026, and this is the morning briefing. It's a beautiful morning. It was even a little cool earlier today at the Home Weather Office when I got up first thing this morning, but blue sky, and it is going to be a warm day. Actually, temperatures similar to what we saw yesterday. Most areas will be in the mid, maybe upper 90s. But the trend of the morning models is a little bit cooler on Thursday, and we had expected temperatures to drop down Friday, Saturday, but Thursday had been looking like a day we might flirt with 100. Morning models getting away from that, and there's a really good reason for that, at least according to the models that we'll get to in a second. It's kind of an interesting forecast this morning. We do have some high thin clouds going by, still getting some smoke here. It's elevated, looks like it's coming off the timber fire down here near Big Sur. It's not a lot of smoke, but you can catch it on the satellite. And, this should be over the Home Weather Office, and I don't see any trace of that out the window. Still some clouds over the Sierra, but we'll continue to see these few high, thin clouds from time to time during the day. More moisture streaming up from the south, and that is going to be a feature over the next few days. So let's go to the temperatures, because the temperatures are going to actually be pretty nice. So today, according to the RRFS, upper 90s. And that's actually 1 or 2 degrees lower than the same model was saying yesterday for this afternoon. But still, it'll be a warm afternoon, but nothing too hot. And then tonight, only dropping down into the mid 60s. And then tomorrow, this model had been suggesting up around 100 degrees. But instead, at 4 o'clock, it tops out in Sacramento at 95, 90 in Stockton, 101 in Chico. But like I said, this model, for some reason, runs too hot in Chico. I don't know why. But most areas are in the 90s. But again, this is lower than what the model was suggesting yesterday. Let's head into the day on Friday. And Friday afternoon, upper 80s. And then what about Saturday? Also upper 80s. Nice, really nice. Okay, I'll get back to this model in just a minute. We'll go to the big picture here on the 500 millibar chart. Here's the big high, so Southern California and the deserts are still hot. And we get this troughiness. But watch what's happening down here. Let me back up a little bit. So we have this decaying tropical system, and this flow here is going to steer, even though the system falls apart, will steer more moisture our way as we head into the day on Thursday. This is Thursday around midday. And you add in just a little bit of vorticity, as highlighted in the areas of green here. A little bit of lift in the atmosphere, and this is Friday. And that's why we have this comfortable pattern as we head into the weekend. And we just have that trough leaves so that by Monday, maybe temperatures go up, but only briefly. Another trough comes our way to keep temperatures nice in a really good range as we head into the early days of September. Okay, so let's go to this, and let's go to, hang on one second. Let's go to this. Okay, let's track that moisture with the precipitable water. So this is Wednesday, now Thursday. Watch this area here. So now we have a lot of precipitable water. This is Friday afternoon. So it starts really on Thursday night into the day on Friday, and then the atmosphere dries out quite a bit. So it's this little slug of moisture that's coming up from that decaying system, as you can see here. All right, let's go back to the RRFS and switch over to Precip. Let's see what that has to say. This is this afternoon, maybe a couple of pop-ups on the east side of the Sierra. Now, what about Thursday? What's this? What's that? That's 1 p.m. on Thursday. Rain? And that's a Thursday night. So look at that. And then we should have more of this on Friday. Yep. That's Friday morning. And this is Friday around midday. And then Friday night and into Saturday, it all clears out. So is it going to rain? Well, let's see what this model says, how much rain that put out. Well, even though there was rain over Sacramento, it shows no accumulation. It does show accumulation on the west slope, with these areas getting, a half an inch or more, and this one area over an inch. Again, this is just model data. I'm not saying that we're going to see an inch of rain in Tahoe. I'm not saying that. But it does show you that there is probably a really good chance of getting rain in the Sierra as you get a little bit more lift as we head into the day on Thursday afternoon especially, and then into the day on Friday. So let's go back to this. And so, for instance, here, let's pick a spot like let's say Folsom. All right, this is showing rain, right? Well, let's look at what the sounding shows. So we're going to take a vertical look at the atmosphere. Well, here's what's going on. What the model is picking up on is that this part of the atmosphere is saturated. So this is the temperature, this is the dew point. So this is where your cloud cover is. And this is 700 millibars, that's around 10,000 feet. So the cloud deck is from 10,000 feet and on up. Pretty good cloud deck. And so let's say there is rain coming out of this. Let's say there's rain right here. Let's say this is the base of the cloud and rain starts to fall. Well, what does it fall into? Well, this is incredibly dry air. So here's your dew point, here's your temperature. Your relative humidity here is, very, very little. You can still get some drops out of this to get down to the ground, but you don't get accumulating rain because it all evaporates. But the radar would still pick up on that and see it. But by the time you're down here on the ground, you're driving down the road and you get a couple of splats on your windshield, and that's about it. All right, contrast that with what would go on in the Sierra. Let me go to a spot where we have some rain in the Sierra. Yeah, let's just take a look at this. Let's see what this sounding looks like. So here's your saturated column, and then here your temperature and dew point are almost aligned all the way through the column. So this is completely saturated here, and here, let's say that's the base of your cloud, you'll continue to get rain down below. So that's why the model is suggesting that we could get rain, but no accumulating rain in the valley, whereas you do get rain on the west slope. Let's see how the HRRR is handling this. So we're just looking at one model. We were just looking at the RRFS. And let's see how the HRRR is handling this. This is Thursday morning. Not quite as wet. And this only goes through Friday morning, but it does show that next area coming up. And let's go to the QPF. Yeah, this shows even less rain. So if we go so this is the total rainfall as of 5 a.m. on Friday, whereas the RRFS through that same time frame was showing a little bit more. And the RRFS has usually shown a little bit more rain than what the HRRR has been showing. All right, let's go back to this one more time, and then let's go out to the GFS. And for that, we'll have to go back to the 6Z run to see what that one says. And the GFS will be quite blobby. The GFS doesn't have anything on Thursday. This is Thursday midday, Thursday afternoon. This is Thursday at 5 p.m. And then finally on Friday morning, it has the Sierra activity. This is Friday midday, Friday afternoon, and then clearing as we head into Saturday. And total QPF here kind of looks like the same sort of footprint that the double RFS was showing, with an area kind of focused around the west slope, up around Echo Summit, and into the Desolation Wilderness, as opposed to the valley. So the question you're going to ask yourself after watching this is, well, is it going to rain at my house? Well, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. So I would say for the valley, there could certainly be some sprinkles. But with the cloud cover we're expecting on Thursday and Friday, it will be cooler, comfortable, maybe a little bit muggy, especially on Friday, I would think. And then on the west slope of the Sierra, one other thing I should look at here is, because this doesn't look all that convective, but let me check on that, because that would certainly be a concern. Let's go back to the double RFS and just see if there's going to be any lightning with this. Because what I'm thinking here is that if we get just some rain without any lightning, that this certainly would be really good. But it does show some lightning. That's Friday morning. I'm not saying that we are going to. I was just wondering if this convective at all. And it is showing some lightning possibilities with it. So that would elevate any fire concerns as well. Okay. So yeah, well, I think what we would be seeing most likely is that chance of getting some showers, and maybe an embedded thunderstorm. But it also looks as though what we would see, especially on the west slope, would be a chance of having some wetting rains to minimize the impact that we may have of having any lightning. But it's certainly going to be more interesting on Thursday and Friday, and also interesting right now seeing the difference in those models between the HRRR and the double RFS. We'll see if the double RFS is overdone. Again, for those of you that may not remember, only really started looking at the double RFS back in, maybe April or May, because the NAM is going away. I haven't even looked at the NAM because the NAM is either going away or gone away. And so as you're evaluating a model, sometimes you get an idea of it underperforms here, it overperforms here. Like I showed you, it's for some reason it overdoes the temperature in Chico. Don't know why. But it's just one of those things that you, as a meteorologist, you look at it every day and you go, yeah, that's not right. And you do the same thing with precip. We'll see how the double RFS does this winter in terms of snow levels, wind, all of that sort of thing, all of those sort of elements that sometimes the model will nail, sometimes it'll overperform, sometimes it underperforms. And you just kind of take that into consideration when you look at the various models. But today, sunny, warm, beautiful late August day. But Thursday, Friday, yeah, more interesting. And then looking ahead to the weekend, all of that'll be gone. So if you have any weekend plans, the weekend will be just fine and temperatures will be quite comfortable. Well, that's everything I've got for you on this Wednesday morning. We'll see how the models look tomorrow. Should be a fun day. Make it a great day. I'll talk with you later.